Okay, hi you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be lecturing on managing stress, which is chapter 5. We did not get to go over this lecture in class, so I'm hoping that you're watching it so that you can have the information for the test, okay? So basically what I have is I have my tablet and I'm going to be using it as I go along for my own reference. What would be best is if you could split screen this and look at this at the same time, okay? So here we go. So today we're talking about managing stress. The objectives of this lecture, why I want you to listen to this lecture, it's beneficial for you to listen to this lecture, is because we want to understand what stress is. What is it? We want to see what it looks like, how it works, and describe various approaches on how to manage it. So basically, we want to be able to recognize it in ourselves when it's happening, know how it works, kind of what's happening in our body when we get stressed, what may be different physiological reactions we're having, and also describe various approaches to managing it. What do we do with it, right? Because as we talked about, everybody has stress in their life, so everybody's going to have to learn how to cope with it one way or another. And so finding healthy coping mechanisms and learning how to reduce stress in your life is, I think, one of the keys. So I'm starting off by defining what is stress. So basically, stress is an event or a series of events that lead to strain, often resulting in physical and psychological health problems. Okay, so both physical and psychological problems come from stress. We're going to be learning about that. So it affects our bodies and it affects our minds. And like we talked about in class yesterday, our bodies and our minds are so closely tied. They send information to one another and communicate with one another. So if stress is affecting either of these, it's actually affecting both. So something for you to know about stress as we get going is basically that stress has both positive and negative effects. So positive effect of stress we call uress. And basically what that is it's something that motivates you in a way. If you didn't stress at least a little bit about your midterm, you probably wouldn't have the motivation to go and start studying or to fill out your study guide. So there's ways in which uress or positive stress is helpful to us and is necessary, right? But there's another kind of stress or another way stress shows up, which is a negative stress, and that's called distress. Distress. And so the idea of distress is that it's putting our body in a state. Shoot, no, I don't want to go there. I don't like recording myself, you guys. This is very strange. Basically, distress has the negative side effects. It's when we have too much stress. I'm concerned too much about the test, or I've gave myself too little of time, and so now I'm in a panic or a crisis. Distress is something bad's happening. My body's responding, and we don't like it. It's too much stress. So a little bit of stress, good. Over the hill of stress, not good. Biologically, what is stress? So biologically or physiologically, what is stress? So if you think about stress, and we think about what happens when we get stressed. When we get stressed, our body's system starts to produce adrenaline and other hormones. And basically what happens is that all of our resources become concentrated on fight or flight, what to do to respond to this situation. It brings us here, it dilates our pupils, increases our breathing, brings blood so that we can be, ready to go. And all of this is happening so that we can either fight or run away from a stressor, right? So if we think about this biologically, a very long time ago, our ancestors, right, what they would use stress, this fight or flight system for, is like if they were running from like a saber-toothed tiger. And I have this picture here for you, except these ones are friends. But it's this idea of running from an animal, right? My body would need that. Get ready. And during that same time, my body does not need other systems. My body does not need digestion. It does not need immune system. It does not need, I don't know, some of these non-essential functions, because what it's doing is getting these certain things ready so that I can be safe. I can keep myself safe. So if you think of the system like that, the sympathetic nervous system, I think one of you told me in class, the sympathetic nervous system is the one that turns on for stress, fight or flight, ready to go, ready to respond, okay? When that system turns on, it turns off other systems or slows down other systems like the rest and digest system, the parasympathetic nervous system. And I want you to think of these two as kind of like a teeter-totter, okay? If the parasympathetic nervous system's on, the rest and digest, then the sympathetic nervous system is off. And vice versa. When the fight or flight comes on, the rest and digest turns off, like this. Why this is important is because if I want to start to deactivate one, say I don't want to be stressed anymore, I don't want to do it, okay? I know that both systems can't be on at the same time. So I can do things to start to stimulate my parasympathetic, my rest and digest system, to turn on, thus turning off the sympathetic nervous system. Does that mean the stressor is not still there? Does that mean I still don't have a test or something? No, but it means, of course not, right? The stressor is still there, but I'm changing my body's reaction to the stressor. I'm changing the way I'm able to sit and be ready for the test. I'm so to take a test soon. This is so anxiety provoking. And I'm getting very stressed out, right? Well, if I can figure out a way to turn on my parasympathetic nervous system, to turn on my parasympathetic nervous system so that I can calm down and look at my test in a more calm way, where I'm then connected to my frontal cortex and I can think about the test, I can use my knowledge. I've calmed myself down and brought myself here ready to take the test, right? I could do that by turning on my parasympathetic nervous system. So that's what this lecture is really about, is understanding how these systems work, where they come from, why they're harmful, and what we can do to turn on the one we want, the parasympathetic, when we need it. The reason why it's harmful, just to reiterate, is because when our digestive system gets shut down, it's causing weight gain and it's not working, right? It shuts down our immune system. It suppresses our immune system. It puts us at greater increase of being sick more often. Also heart disease, cancer, lots of different things happen because of stress in our bodies. If you want a really good movie to watch, I posted a movie on Blackboard for you. It's called Stress Portrait of a Killer. It's a National Geographic movie. I think you'll like it a lot, but it kind of explains stress's effects on our body and what that means for our life later on and what that means for our health later on. Okay, so stress is a big deal, is what I'm trying to get at here. The thing I was trying to get at with the saber-toothed tiger who's running away, you're running away from, is basically today, my cat's meowing. Basically today, we get stressed about a lot of things that we don't need that system for. We don't need the adrenaline pumping. We don't need the other systems turning down and I'm trying to get away. We want stress then, but unfortunately today we have a lot of other stressors. For example, I could just be sitting in the car in traffic and that system can turn on. And there's nothing I'm trying to get away from. And now I'm stressed in the car and I'm mad and I'm, in the car. And all this while, my immune system's suppressed and my digestive system's depressed. So I'm secreting hormones in my body that puts me in a bad mood, a bad state, and I don't even need it. I have nothing to get away from. So our bodies respond so much more often to stressors than it was basically created for. So the next slide says stress versus stressor. And basically what we're going to talk about is that they're two different things. And the stressor, it says, is an agent or stimulus that causes stress, and it's the things we respond to in our environment. So for example, when my cat meows a lot, she's a stressor for me because I feel like I have to respond, I have to do something, right? Stressors are lots of different things, and that's what we're going to talk about. So there's 5 different categories of stressors, okay? The first one is a biological stressor. So this is something like an illness or an injury, something that's happened to my body, and I'm sick and I have to always worry about going and getting treatments, and that my body's sick and then I'm so tired and my body takes up all this energy, right? Or my leg, it's injured, it's really hurt, okay? Biological stressor. There's environmental stressors. These are things that are in our environment. So for example, Holly, when she meows, by the way, hi Holly. Holly, when she meows and she causes me stress, she's an environmental stressor for me. She's something in my environment that's causing me to react, stress, okay? Poverty is another environmental stressor. Imagine, we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so we know that the safety part of that triangle has a lot to do with poverty and SES and your ability to gain resources and have stability. And so poverty creates large stressors in people's lives, most often. Noise can be a stressor, something annoying, something I'm reacting to. Traffic, loud. Pollution is another stressor in our environment. Things like trying to arrange your class schedule, etc., right? All environmental stressors. The third kind of stressor is called a cognitive stressor. So a cognitive stressor is the way you handle a situation. What that means is like when something happens, how do I think about it? What do I do once I talk to this woman? I need to talk to the lady in the office and I had a disagreement with her. How do I handle it after? Do I think about it a lot? Am I scared to talk to her? Am I going to go tell her how I feel? Do I not care? Am I, hi lady, what's up? So those kind of stressors, how does my mind and my thoughts cause stress for me in my environment? Personal behavior stressors is another one. So personal behavior stressors are negative reactions caused um, by things that we do to our body, basically by tobacco, by alcohol or other drugs, or by lack of physical activity, by the things that we eat. So stressors that are part of our behavior that we cause. And then the last one is called a life situation stressor. And so basically what this is death, divorce, and other situations with peers. So life milestones. For example, I'm about to move, right? So that's a stressor. It's getting ready to move somewhere new and think about it in life situation. Oh, somebody's having a baby, somebody's getting married, these death, whatever, stressors in people's life. If anyone you know is going through having a baby or getting married or about to move or starting new college, these are huge stressors in their lives, overlying ones, right? Something for you to think about when you hear those things. You can imagine kind of the difficult time and all that that person's dealing with right now, and hopefully have some empathy for them. Okay, so there's 5 stressors, right? And the more categories we have stressors in, and the more stressor in each category, the more stress we have. So for example, say I'm moving and I am not exercising, and I always think people hate me, and I'm always mad at a lot of people because they're just stupid idiots, right? And also, I live in poverty. That's 4 different big overlying stressors. I'm in poverty, all the stressors included with that. I have the thought that everybody hates me all the time, and I have weird, hard relationships, difficult relationships with people. That's another huge stressor in my life. Um, I don't remember the other one. Oh, I'm not exercising, and so my body doesn't feel that good. I'm not that healthy. I'm, thinking a lot of things. That's a stressor in my life. And then I'm also moving, and so now I have to plan for all of that. These are 4 huge events. Can you imagine how much stress this hypothetical person would be under? Then add more, then add more, then add more, then add more, right? So the more levels of stress basically in these 5 categories you have, the more difficult it's going to be for you to handle. It's going to be, oh, this is a lot of, these are big. This is a lot of stressors, right? So I guess ask yourself the question, how many, I would want to ask you if we were in class, how many of these stressors do you have? How many of the categories? Biological, environmental, cognitive, personal behavior, and life situation. Hold on, I think someone's on my patio. One second. Someone's replacing the fire extinguisher. Okay, so the more of these stressors you have, the more difficulty basically you're going to have in managing your life. So we have to start to recognize how many stressors we have and how much pressure we actually are putting ourselves under, because sometimes it's hard to realize that all of these things pile up and it makes it hard, and then we think, why am I so tired all the time, or why am I so sad, how come I get so upset, why do I always feel so overwhelmed, why do I feel like I just want to run away, why do I really want to run away? And we don't recognize how many stressors we're operating under and how difficult that must be for our bodies and our mind and us to make sense of everything, right? So think about how many stressors you have. I would like if you made a little list. I bet you have a lot. And we need to start to wonder about the balance of those. Do I need them all? Can I manage them better? Those are the next questions. We'll get there in a minute. Okay, so here's a truth. Truth. Either we control stress or stress controls us. This is true. So either we control the amount of stress that comes in our lives and we learn how to handle it in different ways, dancing, listening to music, sleeping, eating, taking good care of ourselves, being around people who are good to us, all these things, right? Either we learn how to handle our stress and limit it and set boundaries and cut certain people out of our lives that cause us a lot of stress and learn to say no. All these things that we're about to talk about, either we learn to do that or the stress controls us because it starts to affect our sleep, our mood, our eating, our way of responding to people, our way of seeing the world, our way of thinking when I wake up in the morning, no, don't make me go, I don't want to go, or hey, that's a pretty nice shirt you got on. The level of stress that we have in our lives affects all of that and our health. This is important, you guys. So I don't want to go over all of this because you can go over all of it, okay? But it says, what stress does to your body. And it has a picture of a body. Let's see. And it has like 1,000 different things. Unfortunately, I don't think it's showing up right now, and I don't know what to do about that. But it says like, oh, sorry, I lost it. Okay, your head. Stress affects our head, right? Our mood, our stress, the way we think, if we get headaches, if we're tired, our head. Our skin. We break out more, our skin gets more oily, maybe we pick at our skin, we pull at our eyebrows, we pull at things, we scratch, we bite our nails, right? We do things, our skin, our body is affected by stress. Our joints and muscles, we get aches and pains, tension, holding the tension in my shoulders, working, tension, our lower back, right? Our lower bone density. It affects our heart, it affects our blood pressure, how our heart is firing, our heartbeat, it increases the heartbeat. It makes higher cholesterol and higher instances of heart attack. And this is scary because the US is like, I want to say #1 or #2 in the entire world for heart disease. Heart disease and cancer are like our most horrible diseases here. We get them all the time. So this is important. And what we know is that food really matters, exercise really matters, and stress really matters for these three things. Food, exercise, stress. Stress is a big one. Our poor heart, all that work and oh my gosh, and our poor hearts. Okay, we have to take care of stress. Poor hearts. Our stomach, so we get stomach cramps. I don't feel good. Acid reflux in our stomach, nausea, weight gain, right? Because our digestive system's shutting down. Our pancreas, it says diabetes. Intestines, digestive issues like irritable, irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, and constipation. It affects our bodies, right? And our immune system, a reduced ability to battle and recover from illness. And I told you about this. So our immune system shuts down, slows down. We're not as able to fight it when it first comes in, the illness, and start to attack it. And then when it comes, our fighters aren't as strong because they're weakened, because they're not really, getting all their stuff because they're under stress. So if I haven't convinced you yet that stress is not something that we just say, oh, I'm super stressed and I just live under it. There's going to be times in life, absolutely, in which stresses come and go. A death, a birth, a blah, 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 blah. There it goes. That's why we try to manage the ones closest to us, the ones we can, our numbers of commitments, the people we hang out with, the relationships we accept for ourselves, the way we treat our bodies. These ones we can directly affect. So that when I go into something bad, a stressor, something, a death, a graduating college, I'm my healthiest and strongest self because I've been taking care of my relationships and those things around me that I can control. Okay, so taking control over stress is where I am in the lecture. And it says, There's two things we have to do to take control over stress. Number one, we have to be able to recognize it. We have to be able to see it in our bodies, feel it, and notice the stressors. Okay, that's number one. Number two, step number two, and then we have to respond to it. So just like with our health, just like knowing that we need to be healthier, that drinking, excess smoking, excess drug use, overeating, not sleeping, all these things we talked about in class, right? Just like we all said, oh yeah, we know those are bad for us. How many of us still do them? Oh yeah, we all still do them. This is the same with stress. So even if I can see it, I have to be able to respond to it. And I don't know, it's become increasingly easy to see it. It's more difficult to respond to it because sometimes you don't know what to do. So you have to find what works best for you, and that's what we're going to talk about next, okay? Just because it's difficult to respond to it doesn't mean I don't look at it, because by looking at it and noticing it and saying this causes me stress, I then open up options. What can I do for it? But before I have the question, or basically the awareness that this is a stressor in the first place, I can't respond, right? So I'm asking you to start to become aware of things that are affecting you and your mind and your thoughts and your reactions to the world and your comfortability and satisfaction living in it. Become aware, okay? So what does stress look like? What does stress look like? There's a lot of things it looks like. Basically, stress symptoms can show up physically, mentally, or behaviorally, or emotionally. So can show up in my physical body, in the way that I act to people, in my way I think, or the way I feel, right? You may see a number of symptoms that describe you. So now we're about to go over those, all four of those sections, actually three sections. And you're going to see things that describe you. And sometimes you might wonder, like, is this stress causing this? Oh, I have that. Am I stressed? And sometimes it's hard because we think that, like, for example, if I'm not sleeping, that's usually related to stress. But I think, well, not sleeping is what's causing me stress. I'm stressed because I'm not sleeping. But really, it's like a circle. Stress causes not sleeping causes stress. Stress causes not sleeping, but stress causes all kinds of horrible things. So wait till we read the list and tell me, if we were in class, I'd want you to say how many you have, or think about them and say, oh, I do or I don't. If you don't, I'm very happy for you, and I would like you to share with us what you do. How do you help yourself? I would imagine you have good social supports and you know how to access your resources. Um, you must have good balance. I don't know. I'd like to hear. If you don't have a lot of stressors in your life, please share with us in class because it's going to be very interesting. But my idea, what I think is probably most all of you have many of these signs and many stresses in your life, and maybe you just didn't know it yet. So, um, basically, our body and state of mind, one way of looking at it, the way that I look at it, the way that psychology looks at it, is saying that our body and our state of mind is telling us that something needs to change if it's not good. Okay, so when I'm really happy, I want more of this and it feels good and I expand on it. But when my body is always exhausted, or my mind is always angry or sad or worried, that's my body and my mind telling me, Victoria, in here, the piece that's thinking, Victoria, can you pay attention to this? Can you notice that you're exhausted all the time and take care of me? It doesn't have to be this way. Victoria, can you notice that you've been upset about the same thing for a very long time? Can you help me solve this? It's asking me, Victoria, to take notice of what's going on in my body and in my mind and change it and do something differently, right? So these kind of feelings or thoughts, feelings in our body things we're going to talk about, or the way it affects our mind, it's telling us something would feel better changed. That's what it is. It's telling us something would feel better changed. There's a change that can be made here and it would feel better than this. We just have to notice what it is that needs to change. But more than that, we have to make the change. But first, let's just work on noticing. Okay, let's notice what it is in our life that needs to change. There is something that could feel better than whatever it is that doesn't feel good. There's something that could feel better that you can access. I know you can. I'll tell you how. So, when looking at the body, some of the ways that stress shows up. Fatigue, tired all the time, skin problems, chest pain, childhood obesity, cramps or muscle spasms, high blood pressure, loss of libido, lower immunity against diseases, muscle aches, and there's more, but I can't see because of the tablet. Okay, and muscle aches. The ways that it shows up in our minds, our thoughts, and our emotions here is through anger. I'm more quick, easier. I noticed when I get very stressed, when I'm stressed, when I come home and Holly keeps meowing, she's like, meow, meow, meow. And I'm like, oh gosh, because she's calling my attention. I get more mad at her and I feel bad and all she wants is me to pet her. But right, so that's how stress shows up in anger. That's an example. I'm not mean to my cat, I promise. It's just hard sometimes. I get stressed out. She's sweet. Okay. Hasty decision making. I don't know. Just pick that one. Or I can't decide right now. I don't have time to think. I don't know. I just hasty make a decision. Or maybe I refuse to make a decision because I have so much going on. I just can't make another decision right now. I'm just going to stay in this relationship because everything else is so stressful. I got to stay here. So hasty decisions or failure to make decisions. I'm worried more often. If I'm worrying all the time, what if this happens? What if this happens? Oh my gosh, and my mortgage and the car and my apartment, and how do I help my mom? And all these things. Negative. Ugh, it's not even true. Of course that happens. Yeah, it always, you pulled out in front of me. Oh, another horrible thing happened to me today, just for you to know. The person parked behind my car and now I'm stuck. Oh yeah, today must be horrible. Very negative, right? We don't want to be that, but some of us are that. And it's not because I think they're truly negative. I think they must be under a lot of stress, or at one point they were, and it feels hard. And life is hard. I'm not going to lie, life is hard, but it's manageable. But when you're under a lot of stress and we don't know how to access our resources and we don't know how to solve that stress, it feels horrible. Just, oh, life, oh, right? It's kind of what negative is. Nothing ever goes good here. What are you talking about? Horrible, right? So stress affects our minds, thoughts, and emotions in that way. It can make us moody. Oh yeah, why'd you just say that? Jeez, like more quick to snap. I can just become depressed. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Or I could start to feel burnt out, like I just want to escape. I want anything. I just got to get away. I can't do it. I'm going to go hide under my cover and lay there forever. Or feelings of insecurity. Just, I don't feel good enough. I'm not doing enough. I can't do good enough. Something about stress, when we set ourselves up with too much stress. Okay. Something that happens when we set ourselves up with too much stress is we don't give ourselves an opportunity to succeed, an opportunity. Hey, Holly. We don't give ourselves an opportunity to succeed. We set ourselves up for failure, basically. When I take on so many responsibilities and I become so stressed, I don't give myself opportunity to be able to do good and excel and be like, yeah, I'm number one in this, because I'm spread too thin. It's too difficult. I might do it in one, but I can't do it in the others, and then I don't feel good, you know? So that's why it's important that we find a level in which we can be working at our highest potential, but with a small amount instead of half-mass, lots of things and feeling like we're not doing good. Because we set ourselves up and fail. This is the meowing I'm talking about, by the way. We set ourselves up for failure um, by taking on too many responsibilities and having too much unmanaged stress and responsibility in our life. Okay. Behaviorally, stress can come as if I start eating too much. Sometimes I binge eat when I'm really stressed, or I'm eating too little. I don't have time to eat. I'm so busy. I'm running around everywhere. Food cravings, oh, chocolate, chocolate. I just want chocolate, chocolate cake, chocolate. Sudden angry outbursts. Holly, shut up, blah, blah, blah. Drug abuse, starting using more drugs. I am smoking more joints because I need to escape. I got to get out of here. This is horrible. I don't know what to do. Too much stress. Oh, thank God I'm done with that, right? Alcohol abuse. Oh, please, please, just a drink, drink, drink. We do things, we want to alter our state. We don't want to be under the stress, right? So how can we manage the stress so we don't have to try to escape it like that? Higher tobacco consumption, and social withdrawal. I don't want to see anyone. I really don't want to see anyone. All of these are behavioral signs of stress, being too stressed out. So step number two, now that we've identified if we're stressed or not, how our body might be reacting. If I'm noticing I have been really fatigued and I have been really angry lately and I have been avoiding social situations and I have been craving chocolate, gosh darn it, I love chocolate. And I realized that I have a lot of stressors, and now I see the ways it's affecting my body. I realized that I get sick more often. Yeah. Um, I see the stressors I have, all the ones I have, and then I see the way it's affecting my body, my mind, my emotions, and my behavior. Now I have to say, what am I going to do about these stressors I looked at? So the next piece is here. How can you deal with this stress, right? My number one thing I'm going to tell you to do with the stress, and this is going to take the help of maybe people helping you make good boundaries or talking about it. I love therapy. I'm a therapist, so I love therapy, right? I think therapy is number one most awesome. I love my therapist. I go to my therapist. She helps me. She helps me handle things. She's a good therapist. My clients come to me. They like having me to help them and to think about things and to understand and put the heads together and say, oh gosh, what do we do here? This is hard. I like therapy. I think it's great. Okay. But when we want to handle stress, we have to be able to figure out when to say yes and when to say no. And this is very difficult, and this is a hard balance to find. And this is why I was suggesting we talk about it with someone, we see a therapist, something like that, because it's very difficult to know when to say yes and when to say no. Because, like the spectrum I talked about, right, of stress or of doing too much, of the balance spectrum I talked about in class. When I'm saying yes too often, I'm putting myself at like an overload. I'm doing too many things. I have too many responsibilities. I have too much stuff to think about, too many things to try to juggle, too many balls up in the air, plates spinning, whatever you want to think of it as. When I say yes too often, I'm overcommitted, over responsible, causing way too much stress in my life, right? But when I say no too often, then I'm not seeing people and forming close relationships. I might be spending a lot of time by myself. Excuse me, I might not be getting the experience and taking advantage of college like I could and should be. Because to tell you something, those who do go to clubs, who do volunteer, who do research, who get involved in their degree, their department, that's what you should be doing, getting involved in your department. Those who do that in college are going to have more opportunities when they get out than people who just have the degree but they didn't ever take advantage of the experiences. You have a lot of experiential learning being offered to you right now, and you need to take advantage of that. So if I say no too often, I'm setting myself up kind of in a bad way because I'm not taking on responsibilities that might be good for me in my future, not trying new things, not being with people who might be important to me. So this is a difficult balance. When do I say yes and when do I say no? Who do I say yes to and who do I say no to? What is an appropriate balance for me? This is very difficult. So I think that's the number one most big thing about stress is learning where your balance is and learning that your balance may be different than others and that that's okay. Just because, and we talked about this also, just because my friend Stephanie is able to be the president of this club and have a boyfriend and work full time and go to school full time, that doesn't mean that I should be able or could be able to do all of those things. That's what Stephanie can do. It might be difficult for her. I don't know. Maybe she's hiding that it's difficult, right? But it might look like she's doing it. Whatever. Maybe she is. That's fine. That's Stephanie. Victoria, I can only do it a different way. I might only be able to, if I'm going to school full time, I could probably only work part time. Or if I work part time and go to school full time, I don't know. I don't know how to do that, and then add and add and add whatever else you guys have going on, right? I have a boyfriend, I have a kid, I have a parent I take care of, I have siblings I take care of. I mean, you all have things. So when do I say yes? When do I say no? How do I say yes to the right things? This is all something you have to sort out, but something you need help sorting out, most likely. Okay, so how can you deal with stress? Was where we were. I just have something flippant. It says, you can ignore it, bang head here. And basically, it's just the idea that I can ignore my stress. I can just keep powering through. I can just keep going on. I could just keep living in this situation that's so stressful where I don't like going home. And every time I'm at home, I feel sad. I could just stay in this relationship where I feel really bad. I could just continue in these stressful situations, which is literally like banging your head against a wall because it's getting you nowhere. It's changing nothing, right? It's just, and it's pulling you down. So it's actually hurting you too, just like banging your head. Oh my gosh, it's so exhausting doing that. So if I ignore it, that's basically what I'm doing to myself, just for a visual representation of what's happening. So instead of doing that, instead of ignoring it, and instead of going to possibly using a lot of drugs to escape or using a lot of alcohol to escape or doing other things that are harming my body, other things that also aren't helping me. We said that those are hurtful stress coping mechanisms, right? They don't help us at all. They might have an adjusted value right away. Okay, I'm drunk. And so now that I'm drunk, I don't have to worry about what happened at work today. I forgot about it. But when I wake up in the morning, I'm not drunk anymore and it's on my mind again, still not dealt with. And now maybe I need to drink again, or I need to what? So instead of doing those harmful kind of things to our body, we want to think of what are some positive ways that we can help handle our stress. I have this picture here. It has a lot of different examples, and I'm just going to talk about a few of them quickly. Group or social support. I would think this would be different for different people, especially depending on who your group and social supports are. Because if you are from a group that's not positive or doesn't talk about emotions or shuts you down every time you try to talk about something that's real to you, the group social support from those people is not helpful, right? Because I try to tell them my problem and they tell me something that hurts me or something else. So that's a different subject. That's not helpful. But if I have a person, at least one in my life, who I know I can call and they'll be there and they can hear me and they say, yes, Victoria, that makes sense that you did that. Oh my gosh, that must be so hard for you. Oh, yeah, and he's an idiot, stupid idiot. Why would he ever do that? You know, somebody who can be on your side. If you have one person who's on your side, that's such a nice thing to have, such a gift, and that's such a gift you give to someone if you can give that to them. Be that one person on their side. So if you have that group or social support that you can call, I'm having a bad day. This is awesome. Hit them up, use them, utilize them. They want you to. They're your person. When they're your person, you guys have that reciprocal relationship and it's real. So utilize your social support if you have one. Group supports are really great for a lot of different stressors we're going through. Small groups like the ones offered on campus. By the way, the Psychological and Counseling Center on campus, like psychological services on campus, they have a lot of really awesome small groups, women's groups, LBGL, you know what I'm talking about, LGBT groups, like divorce groups, military groups, all kinds, learning how to gain social support groups. They have all kinds of groups, and groups is a really awesome and unique setting because, like I said in class, when I sit in a group with other people going through the same thing as me, it makes me feel less alone. It makes me feel less shameful or flawed, like something's wrong with me or why is this happening to me. It kind of normalizes the situation and we can learn from each other how they're handling it or what they're doing. And you're able to connect on a different kind of level because you're like, you actually get it. This secret that I hide all the time or this thing that's so painful for me, you get how painful it is. You can share that with me. And groups can do that for us. And if you could access a group, a small group or something like that on campus or anywhere else, that's a beautiful support to have. Also in here, there's meditation. I have a lot of great things to say about meditation. You don't have to do it every day, but if you did, you might like it. Um, My personal favorite time to do meditation is when I'm going to sleep because my mind does still sometimes run. So I turn on a meditation, a guided deep relaxation meditation. And as I lay there, I listen to, and you're going on a beach. And now I put my mind on a beach and on the sun on my skin and on the waves. And I'm listening to this instead of my own mind. Oh, car goes by outside. I follow the guided relaxation meditation to help me go to sleep. But even more importantly than that, why meditation is so powerful and so awesome is basically it's directing our attention over and over again. And what I'm doing when I'm directing my attention is I'm building my brain power or my strength to be able to divert my attention onto what I want it to. So I'm gaining control and mastery over my mind through meditation by focusing. Because when I'm able to say, oh, here's a thought, and I refocus, oh, here's a thought, oh, balloon, oh, focus, and oh, him, oh, focus. And each time I bring myself back to focus, I'm controlling my mind in a way onto what I want it to be focused on instead of all these different thoughts that come in all the time or all these different things that I might not want to be focused on right now. I'm redirecting my attention. Such a powerful tool to have, such a powerful thing for us to be able to work with. Change our thoughts through our way of thinking, right? Through meditation. So I really recommend meditation, and it can be anything you want, but it's really just refocusing your attention over and over again from whatever it's thinking about and on to something new. So meditation is a great way because how that helps us deal with stress is it helps us turn down those repetitive thoughts, those things that are causing us stress. I'm never going to make it. This is too hard. I can't do it. Oh my gosh, the deadline. These things I'm refocusing to, Victoria, you can do it. Victoria, you can do it. Victoria, stay focused here. Don't go here. Spend your time studying. Don't go here. Spend your time writing the paper. Don't go here. Here. Refocus, refocus, refocus. Meditation's beautiful, and it helps us come to a calmed, centered place where we can feel good. So there you go, meditation. It's not like I do it all the time, but I know of its powers, and I know that it has helped have kind of control over your thought path. Dr. Dan Siegel, by the way, Dan Siegel is a really great person. He's at UCLA. He has something called the Mindsight Institute, and he's a really excellent person to follow and learn about those things through. He's awesome. Anyways, another thing that you could do is obviously time management. Time management, I think, is something that we learn in college. The most because we have so many more responsibilities. So now we have school and we might have work, or we might have family or relationships or children or friendships or X, Y, and Z, hobbies, clubs, all kinds of different things that we have to manage. And school itself has so many pieces: going to class, doing papers, doing readings, assignments, looking things up on the internet, right? All of these things are huge pieces in college themselves. So how do I manage all these pieces? So now it makes sense that when I say we have to learn to say no and when to say yes, if we say no, we have less pieces to try to manage, right? So we want to use our power of saying no so that we can manage as few as we only want to manage the necessary pieces. The ones we have to have are the ones that are important or meaningful to us, not all the other stuff. We want to try to get rid of all the other stuff. But so we want to time manage it. And then also we want to be prioritizing that. So there's always a long list of things I have to do, right? I have to do you guys are just one piece of my long list, right? So I have to say, okay, Victoria, given that it's Wednesday, what did you have to do today? I have to see my clients. I have to go to supervision. I have to record this video for you guys. I have to do reading on a book that's going to be due. I think that's all I have to do. Oh yeah, I have to see more clients. I have to write their notes, and then I get to come home. If it doesn't fit in there, I can't do it today. So things like grading your expressive art assignments, that I can't do today. When can I do that? Probably Saturday or Sunday. I have those 2 days free, thank goodness. So I can put other things there. But I have to prioritize what I have to do, because if I made the mistake of grading your expressive art assignments and spending 4 hours doing that, and I didn't get around to the video, I would be stressed out that it's not posted online. Then I'd be seeing my clients stressed. I'd come home, try to make the video. It'd be horrible, right? So I have to prioritize what I'm doing. And I like to do it on a day-to-day basis. What is most pressing today? And then out of today, is there anything that's like right now? This person wants my email immediately. I have to submit my hours right now. Okay. Proper nutrition. Our body's way of running. We're fuel. We need to fuel our bodies. Our body needs nutrients. Our body feels good with nutrients. Our body doesn't feel good if we're not eating, empty stomach. Ugh, no energy to do all these stressful events. Or if we're like full, we just get sleepy, right? We might just be kind of like tired and lethargic through our eating. So our nutrition is a way in which we basically soup up our body, get our body ready for all that we need it to do. We need nutrition to take care of ourselves so that we can take on the stressors, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll add on there sleep. I've already talked about sleep several times. I'm going to continue to talk about it. Sleep is one of our number ones. We have to get enough sleep to handle everything we have to handle. So refer back to the last lecture regarding sleep if you need help with that. Sleep is huge for managing stress and taking care of ourselves and our bodies. Breathing exercises. Okay, so why breathing exercises are so nice to have is when, remember we talk about these two systems, right? This is parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest, and this is sympathetic, which is the fight or flight. When this is on, breathing turns on parasympathetic. It brings oxygen to my body. It starts to slow my heart rate. I have to focus my mind on taking those breaths. They don't come natural. Feels so good. Breathing is a way that we can turn on that parasympathetic rest and digest system. It's one of the fastest ways that we can do it, and it calms down this middle part of our brain that has to do with our emotions. So it helps this piece of the body start to calm down and regulate, right? So we need this. We don't have to breathe like I just breathed, although it feels really good, and it's a good way to practice your meditation because you can focus on your breath, focusing on keep breathing, right? Meditating on the breath is something you could do. But also when I get upset, if I'm about to teach you guys and for some reason I'm anxious or something, I just take a few deep breaths, because I know that it's immediately starting to calm my body down, and it's helping me start to manage this system so that I'm not in hyper stress mode. Okay, so breathing is an excellent tool that we have. If I need to talk to somebody, if I'm getting over aroused, anything like that, if I'm going into a meeting and I want to do a good presentation, something like that, breathing is a really powerful tool that we have available to us all the time. Even in the car, I can breathe. I've had a long day at work. 10 breaths, please, just 10 breaths, right? So breathing feels good. Try it now. You're at home. You could. Come on. Regular exercise is another one on here. There's a lot of studies that say that not exercising is like taking a depressant. Like basically exercising is like an antidepressant for our body because of the oxygen and because of the hormones we release and different things like that, the chemicals released in our body, that our body just naturally feels better through exercising, and it makes us handle our stress better because it makes us like stronger fighters in the ring, right? Just like the nutrition, just like the sleep, it makes our body better able to handle the stress, and it's releasing positive hormones that feel good to us. Thought stopping, which is basically challenging your thoughts, not just going with the thought, oh yeah, and I'm horrible and I'm never going to make it and it's really scary here and I'm going to live under a bridge, and when I live under the bridge, then, and it's saying, listen, Victoria, you're not living under the bridge. I'm going to live under the bridge. No, even if you lived under the bridge and it's catching your thoughts and bringing them somewhere else. Thought stopping. No, I'm not going to have that thought. Or that thought, I can't do anything about it. There's nothing, I've thought about this thought 1,200 times. There's nothing I can do. I'm rethinking, right? So thought stopping, something we can do. Planning ahead, obviously, putting my coffee before I go to work, making my lunch before I go to work, making sure that I have everything done so that I can leave the house. I'm not stressed, I'm not running, I'm not in a hurry to get somewhere. I'm in a hurry to get to work. Every morning I'm in a hurry to get to work. Beep, 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 get out of my way. I start my morning every morning stressed by not planning ahead, by not leaving in enough time to get to work. Okay, so I introduced that personal behavior stressor into my life every day by not planning ahead. So planning ahead is a helpful tool, right? All these things probably sound like, yeah, duh, instructor do what he does. Um, but I hope that maybe you're hearing them in a different way. I guess that's the most I can hope for. I can hope that you are thinking, I can do that, or you're hearing me be so sincere about why they are important and how they are helpful to us, because they truly are. And I hope I'm giving you enough examples to explain why and what you can do. And then we really want to avoid negative coping, i.e., drugs, sex, and alcohol, avoiding everything, sleeping a lot. Let's see, what are other ones? Negative coping, overeating, denial. These things that aren't helpful, right? We want to avoid those because, same reason we already talked about, they don't help in the long run. They actually can help, they can compound and cause other problems. Because now I've been drinking, I'm out with my friends, I just wanted to have a good night, and now I get pulled over and I have a DUI, and now I can't get to work. Now I owe a bunch of money. Now I have to go to court. And now my family's like, what the heck? And now I'm embarrassed. And now I can't take people out on dates because I stink and got a DUI. This isn't cool. Some jobs don't even let you have the job if you get a DUI. Not good. So we want to think ahead, plan ahead, okay? We want to be aware of ourselves. You guys, let's be aware of ourselves, okay? Are you ready? So I'm going to give you a stress reduction, okay? So for the next 10 minutes, enjoy. Uh, 10 seconds, I mean, but it's not even going to go. See this beautiful beach scene I'd like to show to you? We can do something like take a little vacation on our own. I look at this beach scene, it's in Hawaii. The water's so beautiful. The palm trees are so beautiful. I love palm trees, by the way. I love palm trees. The sky has like these really lovely clouds. The beach just looks perfect. There's no one on it. I feel better already. And I just take a little vacation looking at this place and imagining myself there. We can take 1-minute vacations like this. This next slide says cut down on stress. How do we cut down on stress? Well, we've talked a lot about the balance and the learning to say yes and no, right? Also, it says connect with someone and don't go it alone. And that's true. Um, what I realized is that when I get stressed, I have built a support system that I can call on. So when something goes wrong, I can call my mentor, or I can call my best friend Nicoletta, or I know someone to call, or someone to email, or someone to get a hold of and say, this is going wrong, what do I do? And with their help saying, Victoria, you just call here, you go there, you talk to this person, and they help guide me through. And I thought about it the other day when I had a similar situation. I thought, if I couldn't access these resources, I wouldn't know what to do. I myself didn't know what to do, but by calling a resource, I was able to find out. Um, so I think learning to access your resources is really important, and not trying to do it all alone, because when you're all alone, it does get overwhelming and it feels like too much. And also you believe a lot of your own thoughts, and some of them might not even be true. Some of them might be things that you've made up or you're horribilizing or that you're worried about, but they're not based in reality. And that's why we have to reality check with people, because um, sometimes our own experiences uh, muddy the waters of reality, and what I see is not really how it is, but I see it that way. And if I have somebody else to kind of check that reality with, they can say, Victoria, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Of course you and I are still friends. Or You can do it. They help check your own reality when maybe you have self-doubt or something. So we want to connect with someone and we don't want to go it alone, but we talked about it before. I think it's important that you connect with somebody who's who's there for you, who truly has your back, who you trust, not just with someone, because we can't just trust anyone, because we know that they either don't know how to respond well. Sometimes they think they're trying to be helpful, but they're really sending you the message that you're dumb or you're wrong or what are you talking about. It's like shaming. um, or sometimes they like have not our own best interest in mind. So I guess that's what's important. We connect with somebody who has our best interest at heart, and we trust that about them, that when we're talking to them, they're not trying to persuade us one way or another. They're not even listening, but they're really hearing and saying, that's what you need. That would be good for you. Yeah. Yeah, do that. That's good for you. I hope you get that. That's who we want. So we want to talk to our family, friends, work colleagues, and our boss. Express your thoughts and worries if they are someone who you trust and feel like they have your best interest at heart. Sometimes also just coming into a teacher's office or asking a stranger, what would you do, is helpful too, because you get kind of a different idea. But I'm trying to tell you, I guess, learn who is safe and who's not safe, and to learn to make that distinguishment between people who are safe to trust with your emotions and inner world and people who aren't. And instead of letting everyone in and then being hurt, or instead of keeping everyone out and trying to protect yourself, it's so nice if we can learn who to let close and who to keep out. And if that's another hard thing that therapy can help you with, it is another reason why I love therapy. And I think that therapists are awesome. Um, Division of labor: try to delegate your responsibilities at work or share them. If you make yourself indispensable, the likelihood of your feeling highly stressed is significantly greater. Divide the tasks. If you're the manager or something, you don't have to be the one to do it all. And sometimes we feel like, well, if you want the job done right, I have to do it. Or we feel like no one else is going to do it, so I have to do it, or something like that. And we take on a lot of responsibilities that maybe don't belong to us. So we need to look at our responsibilities and say, I don't have to be the one to do this. Can someone else take on this role? Someone else wash the dishes? Someone else pick up my brother from school? Someone else do something. Um, Assertiveness: don't say yes to everything. If you can't do something well, or if something's not your responsibility, try to seek ways of not agreeing. That's what we're talking about, yes versus no. Seek professional help. Seek professional help. Seek professional help. If the stress is affecting the way you function, go and see your doctor. Or actually, I say go and see a therapist. Doctors might be able to prescribe you medicine, and perhaps for some of you that is what you need. But I think that therapy is another viable option. And I don't necessarily like we just take medicine and then we're like, oh, okay. No, it's better to have an awareness and to wonder and to work through some of the stresses and reduce some of the stresses. Taking the medicine doesn't make this person less stressful in your life. It just makes the way your brain perceives the drugs, the way it reacts, less stressed, more subdued. So it doesn't take away the stressor. I'd rather be in therapy and help you take away the stressors, okay? Heightened stress for prolonged periods can be bad for your physical and mental health. Take care of yourself and be aware of your body. Drugs and alcohol won't help manage your stress better. Exercise, been proven to be beneficial effect on person's mental health. Breathing, effective breathing techniques which will slow down your system and help you relax. Relaxation techniques like meditation, massage, or yoga have been known to greatly help people with stress. Okay. Sleep, caffeine. Sometimes we take in too much caffeine and it makes our heart beat and it gives us anxiety, and it's like, good morning, guys. Too much, okay? Nutrition, time. Make sure you set time for yourself. Make sure you do self-care like we talked about at the beginning. Make the time for yourself, because you are important and your rest is important. Give yourself time to paint your nails, to take a bath, to whatever you boys like to do that's restful for you. Lay on the couch, put your feet up, watch Teen Mom, whatever it is you like. Or also take that time to organize lists, pursue your own interests, things like that. And my very last one slide here says, don't forget to smile and don't forget to laugh. So laughing lowers your blood pressure and makes you feel more relaxed. And findings show that smiling during brief stressors can help reduce the intensity of the body's stress response, regardless of whether the person actually feels happy or not. So it's the same thing with the breathing. It's not that I'm not still have a stressor, but my stress response goes down. Just sometimes by smiling when I'm walking into a place I don't want to go, I immediately feel more, hi, how are you, da da da, than, our facial structure matters. So I'm gonna, I had a little video to play at the end. You don't have to watch it if you don't. It's just a funny little video about a college girl and stress. It's about 3 minutes. I'm gonna post it with this YouTube video. All right, so good luck on your test and see you later.